I'm Kaidi Chong, mobilizing and defending reproductive rights. This year's Women's March targeting the Supreme Court 2 days before the High Court reconvenes to tackle a number of cases, including the future of abortion rights here in the United States. Pix 11's Rebecca Solomon joins us live from Foley Square, where one of the largest rallies just took place. Rebecca.
Kaidi, good evening. We're talking about hundreds of people making their way here to Foley Square in Lower Manhattan, pushing for those reproductive rights. The group has since made their way uptown. Now, abortion providers have been trying to block this Texas law. They've been rejected, and that is prompting even more calls from women's rights activists. Pulsating sounds from the all-women drumline Fogo Azul blaring throughout Cadman Plaza Saturday as the Women's March in the nation's largest city begins with a memorable bang. Hundreds of women made their way from Brooklyn across the bridge into Foley Square, demanding an end to what they say is a massive blow to their reproductive rights.
We own our bodies, and every woman, regardless of race, regardless of creed, regardless of economic background, has a right to health care.
Activists like Sabrina Gates are marching in the Rally for Abortion Justice to call attention to the new Texas ruling, which bans abortions after 6 weeks before some women know if they've conceived. The bill offers no exceptions for rape or incest. These New Yorkers say it's inhumane and restrictive.
It's an economic issue, it's a racial issue, it's a systemic issue. We need to come together and understand that this is about people's lives. It's about forcing people to be pregnant against their will.
The fact that the Supreme Court, refused to hear this case is deeply concerning, because any state can pick up and follow suit.
To enforce the law, Texas is asking private citizens to file lawsuits against violators and has entitled them to at least $10,000 in damages if successful. The executive director of the New York Civil Liberties Union, Donna Lieberman, says New York will always be a safe haven for women needing care.
The pathways have to be open, the funding has to be there, the clinics that are providing services to women from Texas and Mississippi have to be supported, and that's what we're here for.
It's not just women of color, it's everyone's problem, and everyone needs to have a say in it.
You gotta scream to be able to be heard, so that's why I'm here today.
Reproductive rights are human rights!
The Women's March group organized this event in partnership with 90 other groups, including Planned Parenthood. Live in Lower Manhattan, Rebecca Solomon, Pix 11 News.
All right, thank you for that, Rebecca. And as we mentioned, the rally in New York City is among hundreds taking place in cities all across the country today. In Washington, D.C., tens of thousands of people marched through the streets of the Capitol. They passed government buildings, including the Supreme Court, where demonstrators chanted for reproductive rights. Dozens of activists spoke about the pending cases before the court and the restrictive law in Texas, and called for lawmakers to pass federal laws protecting Roe versus Wade. Well, a 4-year-old is in the hospital tonight after a devastating fire in Sunset Park, and more than a dozen people are hurt.